When it comes to redefining what femininity means in the 21st century, Miu Miu has always stood at the cutting edge of fashion's cultural conversation. Known as Prada's younger and more rebellious sibling, Miu Miu has consistently challenged traditional ideas of femininity, creating clothes that are at once playful, intellectual, and subversive. For the Fall-Winter 2025 show, Miuccia Prada presents Femininities, not one singular definition, but an exploration of the many ways women express strength, vulnerability, independence, and identity through fashion. This season, Miu Miu delivers a collection that blurs boundaries between innocence and authority, minimalism and ornamentation, softness and structure. The runway becomes a mirror reflecting how femininity has transformed, expanded, and diversified in our modern world. The show's set design was both minimal and theatrical. A stark, geometric stage with pale lighting created an almost clinical atmosphere, while spotlights shifted to highlight each model as if she were the protagonist of her own story. The soundscape mixed whispers, typewriter clicks, and layered electronic beats, reinforcing the idea of fragmented femininities colliding and coexisting. This wasn't just a runway, it was a theater of identity. Each model's walk felt deliberate, charged with narrative energy. The set's simplicity allowed the audience to focus entirely on the garments, magnifying their textures, cuts, and contradictions. The first looks introduced Miu Miu's now signature schoolgirl aesthetic, but with a twist. Cropped cardigans, pleated micro-minis, and oversized coats were styled with purposeful disarray. Socks bunched down around ankles, hair unbrushed, and makeup smudged. The deliberate imperfection made a statement. Girlhood is not polished perfection, but a process of discovery. Oversized blazers paired with sheer skirts, delicate blouses tucked into rugged boots. The contradictions were bold. These juxtapositions framed femininity as something fluid, existing in the messy spaces between vulnerability and rebellion. Miu Miu FW25 played with fabric contrasts in striking ways. Wool and tweed tailoring were softened with chiffon, silk, and lace. Faux furs were styled next to sheer slips, creating a dialogue between protection and exposure. Metallic thread knits shimmered under the lights, paired with utilitarian jackets in canvas and leather. One of the season's highlights was the introduction of deconstructed lingerie-inspired dresses layered under heavy coats. An aesthetic that asked, can strength and delicacy exist together in the same body? Every texture seemed to carry its own symbolic weight, speaking to the many textures of lived femininity. Rough, soft, protective, transparent, resistant, and exposed. The collection's colors transitioned like a narrative arc. Opening in muted neutrals, beige, ivory, and pale gray, the palette gradually intensified into deeper hues, navy, burgundy, moss green, and midnight black. Accents of candy pink and vibrant red appeared sporadically, almost defiantly, as though claiming space within darker surroundings. Metallic silvers and muted golds gave certain pieces an ethereal glow, emphasizing the dreamlike quality of the collection. This progression from soft to strong mirrored the collection's theme. Femininity is not one thing, but a spectrum of moods, emotions, and powers. Miu Miu FW25's silhouettes oscillated between body-conscious and oversized, again resisting a singular definition. Outerwear was commanding. Boxy coats, sharply cut blazers, and military-style jackets. Dresses and skirts played with extremes. Micro-minis contrasted with floor-length slips. Tightly fitted bodies paired with exaggerated sleeves. Trousers and shorts leaned into practicality. Cargo pockets, wide legs, and high waists. This mixture created silhouettes that were both practical and performative, functional yet theatrical. They suggested that femininity is a language spoken in many dialects, sharp, soft, playful, commanding. Accessories were central to the storytelling. Shoes, chunky loafers, delicate ballet flats, and rugged boots, often worn with mismatched socks. Bags, small clutches, and oversized totes, oscillating between fragility and utility. Jewelry, deliberately imperfect. Tangled necklaces, oversized pendants, and mismatched earrings. Glasses, geek chic spectacles, and oversized shades, adding intellectual humor to the styling. Details like undone hems, frayed edges, and skewed buttoning created a raw imperfection. A reminder that femininity is as much about authenticity as it is about polish. At the core of the Miu Miu Fall Winter 2025 show is its theme, femininities. Instead of presenting femininity as a singular narrative, Miuccia Prada offers it as plural, contradictory, and constantly shifting. Some looks emphasize fragility, sheer fabrics, lingerie details, soft pastels. Others emphasized authority, boxy coats, military influences, dark palettes. But rather than being in conflict, these contrasts existed together on the same runway, suggesting that femininity itself is about holding contradictions without resolution. The finale brought together the full cast of models, creating a tapestry of styles, moods, and identities. They filled the runway like a chorus, each telling her own version of femininity. The music swelled, the lights brightened, and the garment's details shimmered in unison. It wasn't about a single protagonist, but about a collective celebration of diverse womanhood. The audience's applause felt like recognition, a shared acknowledgement that femininity today is not one thing but many, and that Miu Miu has once again captured that complexity in fabric and form. The Miu Miu Fall Winter 2025 show was more than a fashion event. It was a cultural statement about the many ways femininity is lived, performed, and represented. Miuccia Prada reminded us that fashion is not just about clothing. It is about identity, politics, and the way we see ourselves in the world. Femininities does not give us answers. Instead, it gives us possibilities, showing that to be feminine is not to conform, but to expand. In a world still negotiating gender, identity, and power, Miu Miu has created a runway that reflects our time and invites us to imagine what femininity could become next.